Without question, wildfires are a natural process and an ever-present danger to the homes in the hills and canyons of Los Angeles County. But despite the danger, millions of people lured by acres of natural, untouched beauty are choosing to live there. Although fires are daunting, homeowners need to be aware so they can be prepared to help protect their homes. In an effort to minimize that risk, the Smart Gardening program has devised a number of easy, sensible, fire-wise gardening techniques to help residents keep and protect their lives and property from these devastating infernos.
Just about anyone who lives in Los Angeles County is familiar with tragic scenes like these. Hardly a summer goes by without another outbreak of natural or deliberately set wildfires. Many homeowners make valiant attempts to save their houses when fire erupts, but in most cases, these efforts are too little, too late. Fortunately, over the years, we've learned a few things about how better to protect our homes, our property, and our lives. Hi, I'm Sue Nelson, and this is Fuel for a Wildfire. Dry, native materials that can easily be set on fire during summer heat. And once started, a fire will burn a home just as quickly as it will burn the native vegetation. But with a few fire-wise gardening techniques, the chances of that happening are significantly reduced. And here to help us learn more about that is horticulturist Randall Ismay. Thank you so much for joining us, Randall.
My pleasure, Sue. Anything I can do to help keep people safe and make our job easier, I'm more than happy to do.
So where do we start?
How about right here? Fire needs fuel to burn. This dry brush is like gasoline. The obvious solution? Get rid of it.
Which various local firefighting agencies endeavor to do through extensive brush clearing programs.
Exactly. It's a good preventive measure, and it works. No fuel, no fire.
Well, with the millions of acres of wilderness throughout the county, there's no way we can clear all that.
You're right, there is no way for us to clear all of that. We need help from people who live in areas like this.
Well, what do you say we pay one of those homeowners a visit and show them just how some fire-wise gardening can help them protect their home and their property from extreme fires like this?
Sounds good. We should also point out that fire-wise landscapes don't require a lot of money.
Good point. In fact, having a fire-wise yard and garden might actually increase your property values and help you save money by conserving water. Thanks for allowing us to come by.
No problem. Glad you could come.
Oh, we're grateful for any recommendations that'll help keep fire away from our door.
Well, it's important to understand that we need to follow a series of steps in order to create a good fire-wise landscape. First, you need to assess your fire risk. You can do that by asking two basic questions. Does your home lie in a canyon, or is it on a hilly area? And do you have dry brush and flammable materials around your home?
Well, that brush looks pretty dry to me.
Which means you're probably in a high fire risk area.
Oh, I don't like the sound of that.
Which brings us to
Step 2. Step 2 is to create some fire-wise gardening zones around your house.
that means clearing wide areas and removing dead and decaying material from surrounding property, especially flammable and thinning vegetation that could give fire direct access to your home.
The idea is to create areas of defensible space between your home and any advancing fire.
Well, how wide should these defensive zones be?
On level ground without complications, 30 to 50 feet right around the home may prove adequate. That's Zone 1. Zone 2 would extend another 20 to 50 feet beyond that, and Zone 3 would extend another 50 to 100 feet beyond that. That's the area farthest from the home. Features such as slopes and embankments may require that those distances be extended a little. It's always a good idea to contact your local fire agency and get advice.
That could be a minimum of 100 feet of defensive space on level ground. However, if your property slopes down a hillside, then your defensible space should be at least 150 to 200 feet.
Oh, that makes me feel better already.
Well, good, but there's still a lot to do.
Once you've removed all the combustible plants and materials that could feed a fire, you need to trim back any tree branches that are near your roof by at least 10 feet. And don't forget to prune those groups of shrubs at least a few feet back from your home.
It's also a good idea to keep trees and groups of shrubs at least 10 feet apart. That'll help reduce your risk even more.
Well, now that we've cleared out our safety zones, the old homestead looks pretty bare.
Sure does.
Relax. With some low flammability vegetation, we'll be able to turn this into an oasis in no time.
Low flammability?
Vegetation?
Believe it or not, Mother Nature actually provides us with ground covers, shrubs, vines, and trees that are less likely to catch on fire.
There's no such thing as a fireproof plant, but there are many species of plants that are low-growing, are attractive, they require very little water, and they are difficult to ignite.
For advice on which low flammability plants are best suited for your area, just check with your local nursery.
Or log on to www.smartgardening.com for a list of Firewise plants.
Either way, there's a variety of plants that'll do the trick.
Some very effective ground covers include rock rose, red apple, and aloe.
For shrubbery, you can choose hedging roses, bush honeysuckle, currant, cotoneaster, sumac, and shrub apples.
Trees are always welcome, and you can't go wrong planting maple, poplar, or cherry because they're a lot less flammable than pine and eucalyptus trees.
This Firewise garden your neighbors created is a good example of just how attractive they can be.
Wow. They sure did it right, didn't they?
It's hard to believe that something so pretty is tough enough to help resist fire.
Yes, but make no mistake, every plant can burn. But green and healthy plants are less likely to catch fire.
Which give your home and property a green shield against brush fires. And although these plants are less likely to catch fire, they still need as much water as any other plant would.
But be extremely careful not to overwater, because too much water can generate weeds and brush that are more flammable and could act as fuel during a fire.
It's so beautiful. Everything's so fresh and clean.
It is beautiful, but it could also turn into one of the most terrifying sights you'll ever see.
As we've seen from past fires, once they get started, there's no stopping them. But we've also learned that a few defensive measures like a Firewise garden and a good maintenance program can go a long way in helping keep the flames away and saving entire neighborhoods.
Well, I'm glad that we decided to protect ourselves with a Firewise garden, but is there anything else that we can do?
It just so happens there is. Maintaining your Firewise garden is just as important as having one.
Among the things you can do are stack firewood at least 30 feet away from the house or place it in low flammability containers. Trim your grass on a regular basis.
Prune and thin your plants, shrubs, and trees.
Rake up dead leaves, pine needles, and anything else that could fuel a fire.
And if you have a gardener, ask him to make these maintenance steps part of his routine.
Recycle your grass clippings and use the compost around your plants and in your planting beds.
Store flammable liquids, solvents, and other materials in metal containers at least 30 feet from your house and other structures.
Locate liquid propane gas tanks at least 30 feet from any structure and surround them with at least 10 feet of clearance.
And always, no matter where you live, install smoke alarms on every level of your home.
And make sure you test them, monthly if possible, and change the batteries every 6 months.
Phew, that's a lot to remember.
Don't worry, dear. I'll be here to remind you.
Trust me, you won't regret a minute of it.
Especially if you consider the alternative if you don't have a Firewise landscape. We sure don't want a pile of ashes.
You can say that again. Without question, a Firewise garden can make a world of difference in protecting your home and property from the ravages of a wildfire.
With more and more people moving into these remote areas, fire danger rises daily.
Fortunately, if you make a Firewise garden a part of your landscaping plans, you can help minimize the risk of losing your home if and when a wildfire ever threatens it.
And a Firewise garden is not just a green shield against fire, it's also safe and easy.
So do yourself, your neighbors, and the environment a favor. Think smart.
And get with the program.
It could be all that stands between this and this. And out here, a little bit of smarts goes a long way.
The Smart Gardening Program, providing simple practices to help you develop healthy and beautiful lawns and gardens. With your involvement, we can make a world of difference. For more information about the Smart Gardening Program, call 1-888-CLEAN-LA or visit the website at www.smartgardening.com. Call or log on today to discover how you can think smart and get with the program.